UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
You're listening to Star Trek Weekly News with Tony Robinson. In this week's news, Deep Space Nine, Season 8. Spock is sexy. Star Trek, is it art? All this and more coming right up. Did you know that Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 8 is about to reveal a new starship? Season 8, you say? There never was a Season 8. Well, technically that's true. In fact, actually that's true. But when the producers and directors got together to produce the new documentary on Deep Space Nine, they all got in the writer's room and, as it were, pretended that they were going to write a scenario for Season 8. And during the course of that, they introduced a new starship at the USS Emmett Till. The new documentary, What We Left Behind, looking back at Star Trek Deep Space Nine, had its world premiere at Destination Star Trek in Birmingham, UK. And as part of the premiere, the filmmakers unveiled a new starship, the USS Emmett Till, from the Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 8. The USS Emmett Till was designed by the famed Star Trek concept artist and designer John Eaves. Eaves worked on Deep Space Nine as well as Next Generation and Enterprise. He's working on Discovery right now, and he has worked on 8 Star Trek movies and even the computer game Star Trek Online. Speaking of Star Trek Online, it seems that the Star Trek MMORPG. Anyone have a guess what those letters stand for? I used to know it, but I've forgotten it now. Star Trek Online are interested in bringing the Emmett Till into its timeline, as the game's official Twitter account made sure its lead starship artist, Thomas Marone, was aware of the new ship's debut. The USS Emmett Till was created through a partnership between What We Left Behind and Eagle Moss Publications, who produces the Star Trek Starships collection of collectible starship replicas. A tongue twister. The Emmett Till will be the starship commanded by Captain Ezri Dax in Deep Space Nine Season 8. What We Left Behind previously revealed the first look at Dax from the animated feature. In the post-Star Trek Nemesis continuity of Star Trek novels, Dax took command of a different ship, the Vesta-class USS Aventine. For those wondering about where the name came from, the ship is named after Emmett Till, a 14-year-old African-American boy who sadly was lynched in Mississippi in 1955 for offending a white woman in her family's grocery store. Following his death, Till became a symbol of the racial injustice of the era. As part of the process of filming What We Left Behind, Star Trek Deep Space Nine showrunner Ira Stephen Bear assembled a writer's room featuring 4 key writers from the original series: Ronald D. Moore, Robert Hewitt Wolfe, Hans Beimler and Rene Echeverria, to come up with the plot for a theoretical Star Trek Season 8 Deep Space Nine episode. That theoretical new episode will be animated and included in the documentary when it finally goes on home release. The world premiere of the documentary came out at Destination Star Trek in Birmingham, and it was to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the show. Blu-ray editions of the documentary are expected to be sent to crowdfunding backers before the end of the year. So, George Takei made a comment about Ethan Peck's performance as Spock and regarded him as sexy. Last week, Star Trek Original Series star George Takei revealed some of his thoughts on Ethan Peck, the actor who plays Spock in Star Trek Discovery's second season. Takei played Hikaru Sulu in Star Trek The Original Series, where he worked with original Spock Leonard Nimoy. Sulu took to Twitter to share an appreciation of the prequel series Spock. He tweeted, "The new Spock on Discovery, Ethan Peck, is quite sexy." Days later, Peck responded to the tweet, throwing back one of Takei's signature Sulu lines, "Oh my." The official Star Trek Twitter account even weighed in with a blushing smile emoji and a Vulcan salute. Takei has spoken about Discovery before. Prior to Peck joining the cast, he said he believed it was a return to Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry's original vision for the franchise. "I like it," Takei says. "It's getting back to Gene Roddenberry's idea of infinite diversity in infinite combinations. And the use of sci-fi as a metaphor for current issues. With J.J. Abrams' films, we got way off the tracks. Great space operas, all that running through corridors, zipping through space. And I envied John Cho getting that skydive. But that was it. You didn't have that other dimension, the real throbbing heart of Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek." As Discovery is a prequel to the original series, Peck, of course, is playing a version of Spock that isn't quite the Spock that Nimoy played. "Well, I think a lot of that work was done for me in the writing," Peck told comicbook.com during an interview. "I think we'll see an internal life and dialogue of Spock that we haven't seen before that is highly emotional. He's really dealing with his human emotions at this point, so I guess you could say there are liberties taken with the amount of information shared about his internal life. But I don't think it strays from who he is quintessentially, which is, he is a human. And so that's always been there. When I look at Nimoy's performance in the original series, I see he was deeply empathetic, but chooses to operate on a logical level as opposed to an emotional, perhaps histrionic level, which people tend to do in situations that are unknown or can be frightening. So I think we'll see a lot more emotion in Spock in Season 2 of Discovery. So you think Spock is sexy? George Takei does. But hey, how about dropping us a line and letting us hear what you have to say about it? Now, a story for all you art lovers out there. Star Trek gets 3 limited edition fine art prints from Bye Bye Robot. The artist Cliff Cramp has created 3 new pieces of art inspired by Star Trek The Original Series and The Next Generation. The limited edition prints can be found at Bye Bye Robot, the same art purveyors who previously released 7 Star Trek-inspired art prints. Of Cramp's prints, Bye Bye Robot says, his expressive brushstrokes and style bring a traditional feel to modern science fiction paintings. His hallmark use of deep tones, rich colours, make the backgrounds of his compositions as much of a main character as the ships on which he focuses. Only 75 copies of each print are available, so check them out fast if you're interested. The first piece is titled 5-Year Mission. It's inspired by the original series. The piece features the USS Enterprise travelling the galaxy. The second piece is titled Where No One Has Gone Before. This piece features the USS Enterprise D from Next Gen. The third image is titled Resistance is Futile, and it features one of the Borg's intimidating cube ships. Collectors who purchased a complete set of all 3 of these new prints will receive a 6x9 autograph card hand-signed by the artist as a free bonus gift. This card itself is another piece of art from Cramp, depicting a nebula containing Cramp's name, short bio and the print release date. The titles of these 3 paintings, the collectors personally purchased limited edition numbers handwritten, and the artist's hand-signed autograph. Looking at the pictures as I am now, they're going to look quite dramatic hanging on your bookshelf wall or library wall or bedroom wall. Well, we've come to the end of this week's Star Trek Weekly News. We leave you with this information just in from the Federation Arts and Craft Society. We all know Captain Picard is quite the collector of art and artifacts, and he actually has a display on at Starfleet Academy Art Gallery this coming weekend. Tickets are available online, so get yourself along there and see some of the precious collections from around the universe. Star Trek Weekly News is a podcast from the United Federation of Podcasts, where you'll find some of the best podcasts in the known galaxy. Go to our website, ufp.earth, and you'll find something to suit your tastes right there. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this week's show, so please send us an email. You can contact us literally at contact@ufp.earth. We have a Twitter account, ufpearth, so do send us a tweet. You can also download our podcasts from Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, and of course iTunes. And if you choose to leave us a review, we definitely would like to have a 5-star review. We're not begging, but we are proud. If you'd like to support us, you can do so through Patreon. Go to Patreon/UFP and you'll find all the details there. Before I leave you, I'd like to thank our executive producers and co-founders. That's Zachary Moore, Brandon-Shea Mutala, and Ken Tripp. These guys work hard in the background to make all the shows you hear on the network possible, and they're doing a great job. We're out every Monday, so do tune in next Monday for the next edition of Star Trek Weekly News. Until then, live long and prosper.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.